Here's where we got off of our discounted 10 franc round trip ride from the gondola, which was a sweet deal. Melchsee-Frutt sits in a bowl with a nice lake in the middle of that bowl. And you can see just a little snow that's beginning now to stick. By mid-December, it'll be deep all over and the skiers will arrive. This is a fun place both in winter and in summer. And today we are going to walk to Tonalp and we'll see the second lake. There are 4 lakes in a row here. And today was just too pretty to stay home. There are lots of good fish in this lake, and we saw more than the occasional fisherman up here to try his luck today. In the winter, this will be ice thick enough so that they put a cross-country track on it and you can go around and through the lake. Here's some new architectural sticks where they're going to build a hotel. The old hotel burned a couple of years ago. Another cave in a mountain. Wonder what's in there. We saw a fair number of people today, but nothing to compare with the winter time when there are lots and lots of skiers up here. This is a snow secure area, and that means there'll always be some snow in the winter for skiing. In the summer there's hiking, and on these cliffs what they call climbing gardens, where the rock climbers come to learn and teach their art. The little chapel up here is over 100 years old and sits right on the edge of the lake, although you can't tell it from here. Anyway, it's a beautiful spot. This mountain on the left, the high one, is the Hochstollen, and that's a walk over from the Hasliberg. On a winter afternoon, this is prime avalanche territory, and one can see a whole lot of snow come tumbling down. There are about 7 hotels up here of varying degrees of accommodation, but they do a big business in the winter. I don't think in the summer there's much going on in the hotel business. This is the cable car that goes up to Bonnestock, which is a high cliffside restaurant and hotel for the wintertime crowd. Over by the lift station you can see a couple of Alpine Club huts. These are run and owned by various ski clubs, and this one is from Lucerne. The other is from Kearns. There are a lot of Wanderwegs in the area, ranging from the smooth road to some rather rocky trails along the base of those cliffs. So there's something for everybody to do as far as walking is concerned. You can see baby carriages being pulled and pushed and sleds pulled in the wintertime. A lot of this area is alpine moor, which means it's basically a swamp ecology. But in the summer, the cows enjoy the grass. The cows have just now gone down, so we won't see any cows here today. We're now approaching the second lake called the Melchsee. One can see how this would be great cross-country skiing land with the higher areas for downhill. And in the summer it's just fun to walk it. And of course there's always lunch to look forward to. Here we have the Melchsee behind its earthen dam, and it goes down and flows into the lake at Melchsee-Frutt called the Melchsee. As you can see, the weather is spectacular. This was about 11 o'clock in the morning. Our objective right now is that building in the middle, where we're going to see if we can find somebody to give us or feed us lunch. That's never hard to do. This is the Yoke Pass. You go over this to get to Engelberg. There we have the room price list for the Melchsee. And if we look eastward, we're looking at Mount Titlis up above Engelberg with its glacier and its observation tower there, a long way off, but still quite visible. Southwest, we see the big mountains surrounding the Grimsel and the Susten passes on a beautiful day. Barbara has an eagle eye, and she pointed out to me that we could also see the Wetterhorn from here. So that'll give you some orientation if you know this beautiful mountain. And we could see the lunch bunch beginning to show up here, coming down the path. So it was time to eat. A good-looking plate of green stuff was the first thing that Barbara had her eye on. Her eyes were too big for her stomach, and we brought that sausage home with us. This is a mushroom stew over a slice of good Swiss bread with some cheese on top. After lunch, we took a look inside the chapel that was just across the path with some crazy lighting caused by the windows, but it was spick and span and looked just like it should. On a day like today, it doesn't matter which point of the compass you look at. All you're going to see is beautiful mountains and countryside. Indeed a day to be out and about. By the time we left, the Tonalp guest house was doing a land office business, and why not, since it was so pretty. One does not need Vonderweg signs in this wide open space, but they show there are a lot of different directions in which you can go, either on foot or by a bicycle. It doesn't really matter. On our way up here, we have seemed to have missed this waterfall, but you could hear it very nicely, although I've damped out the sound here because too much extraneous noise was present. Right at the bottom of this valley you can see the Melchsee, which is where I went fishing one time. I caught no fish, and I have not been back since they want 40 francs for a one-day permit. A little rich for my blood. You can see along the base of the big earthen dam that holds the Tonalp Sea that the grass is already beginning to involute for winter time. It won't be long. Above the tree line hikes are one of my favorites. Hiking in the woods just bores me, but this scenery is so beautiful and stark that it's hard not to gape at it over and over, no matter how many times you've been here. Back at Melchsee-Frutt, we saw the same fishermen, but I cannot say I saw an abundance of fish lying about. Maybe they had them covered up. Anyway, the lake is pretty, and it's a nice place to sit. Looking at all these mountains and rock formations makes me wish I had taken some geology courses when I could get credit for them in high school and college. But there's evidence of a lot of activity. The building boom is present at Melchsee-Frutt also. Lots of new apartments and condos being built. Going down in the cable car, the glacial grooving once again is very evident, and more than I've seen anywhere else in my travels. I suppose that has something to do with the rock composition. But it's a 20-minute ride down to where we'd parked our car, and all in all, it could not have been a better day. It's a quick ride up here from the heartland.